Hello there, Aces. It's nice to be back again. We recently uploaded 3 videos focusing on the course content overview, Module 1, and the Module 2. Now, let's try to focus for this time on the module course overview that we provided. 18 to 24 hours will be allotted to Module 3 if I'm not mistaken, because it requires a lot of time to accomplish all the activities and planning. Now, under Module 3, it is subdivided into 3A and 3B. And for 3A, it is subdivided into another 3 lessons. Now, let's focus on Module 3A.1. Now, the content for this part is about understanding the different LDMs or the learning delivery modalities. Now, for your activity 1, do a quick check of your knowledge of the 4 modalities prescribed in the LCP or the Learning Continuity Plan. Is it face-to-face learning, distance learning, or the blended learning or the BL, and homeschooling? In your own words, define each modality, write your own definition in your study notebook. When you are done, check Lesson 1 activity answer key 1 to see how well you did. Now for this part, the following is the definition, or are the definitions deduced from the concept in the modules. Now, face-to-face, the blended learning, and homeschooling, and the distance learning, I actually incorporated them. You can use your own understanding of the modalities, the 4 modalities. Okay. Now, for number 2, for the continuation, now answer this question: which of the LDMs do not have an face-to-face learning component? Write down your answer in your study notebook, then check it against the Lesson 1, Activity 1, Answer Key 2. Now, you will be identifying here, I already listed my responses among the LDMs that do not have face-to-face learning component. In Activity 2, read 2 documents. Actually, teachers, you need to read them so that you can get your responses or your idea about the question. The first document that you need to read is the Guidance on Distance Learning, and the second one would be the Non-Negotiable Minimum Requirements for Distance Learning. As you go through the readings, complete the Distance Learning Matrix. Share your completed matrix at your next Slack session. Your goal is to come to a shared understanding with your peers on the different DL modalities and their defining features and requirements. Note that when a vaccine is already available and face-to-face will be allowed by the Interagency Task Force and by the local government unit concerned, any of the DL modalities may be combined with face-to-face learning to come up with a blended learning. Now, learn more about blended learning in the supplementary handout on blended learning delivery modalities. Now, this is the matrix that I drafted upon or after reading the documents required in order to write down your responses here. Now, we have the first column, the distance learning modality, distinguishing feature, essential resources, the role of the teacher, role of parent or household member, and the role of the school. In each modality, actually, they differ when it comes on the feature, on the resources, and in the role of teacher and parent, and of course the school, because they are varying when it comes on component. There are some that are linked to each other, but most of them are varying when it comes on their essential needs in establishing these learning modalities. Now, for the modular distance learning MDL, these are my responses. Okay, that's my responses for the MDL. I also have my responses here for the online distance learning. I will be highlighting them. Okay, that's it. And aside from these 2, you have also the TV-based instruction and the radio-based instruction, because they are also differ when it comes on the feature. And we have the blended distance learning that we already discussed in the webinars provided by the Department of Education, and other private institution, we can use blended learning upon the approval of the government to use face-to-face. We can combine face-to-face to other modalities. We will be calling it as the blended learning. Now, for activity 3, consider the situation in your school. Let's check it out. Or division, your organizational capabilities, your level of resources, like the infrastructure, financial, human, level of experience in DL, health and safety status, context and capacities of learners and their households. Then rank the DL types, the MDL, the modular distance learning, the ODL, the online distance learning, the TV, BI, or the television and radio instruction, and the BL for the blended learning, from easiest to most difficult to implement. Give the reasons for your ranking for each. Replicate the following table and write your answer in your study notebook. Now, for this activity, you will be ranking among the modalities that you can easily use and to the hardest to implement. Now, for the first one, I have the MDL for the ECS, and this is my reason why. The second one, I have the ODL or the online distance learning, and I also supported it with my reason. The TVI ranked 3 for me, and with my reason as well. The fourth one would be the blended learning with my particular reason, and the last one would be the RBI for my personal view. Now, upon accomplishing this one, you will be directed to answer the activity 4. The LCP assures that all possible measures will be taken to ensure that no child will be excluded from learning during the COVID-19 crisis. Think about groups of learners in your school division who might require special consideration to be able to participate in DO. Describe what targeted intervention you would develop to include them. Listed below are some examples which may be relevant to your context. Add others as appropriate. Write down your answers in your study notebook and share your ideas at your next LAC session. Now, we have here the learner group column and the targeted intervention. Actually, this part is a bit difficult because you will be designing or thinking of a possible solution, not just a band-aid solution, maybe a long-term solution for this target learner. Now, for the first one, we have the learners without parents or household member who can guide and support their learning at home. This will be my target intervention. The second one, beginning readers K to 3. This is my targeted intervention. Struggling readers grades 4 to 12. Also have no access to devices and internet. This would be my intervention. Inaccessible living in remote or unsafe areas, I also have this. Indigenous peoples, we also have intervention for them. Person with disabilities, we also have interventions for them. And I also specify that evaluation of different inhibiting factors prior in designing modalities. We all need to assess not just the modalities, not just the materials, but also our target learners, particularly those disadvantaged students. Now, these are all my responses in my module 3A.1. Please stay tuned and subscribe so that you will be notified for the next reference that I will be providing. Happy learning, everyone. Sulong Edukalidad.